Optim Finance is a project creating financial opportunities for businesses, stake pools, and individuals on the Cardano blockchain. They are developing a bunch of DeFi products that generate at the same time passive income for the holders and that help finance and create valuable use cases for businesses and stake pools. In this video, we'll focus on analyzing Optim Finance as a project and especially very important aspects of this project such as the tokenomics, the team, and the roadmap. Stick around because this will certainly be a very interesting video about a project with huge potential. As always, nothing in this video is financial advice, only educational content, okay? Coming back to Optim Finance, as said before in the intro, Optim Finance is a project searching to develop DeFi products on the Cardano ecosystem, DeFi products that create opportunities for projects, for people, and for stake pools, and that will in fact even help in terms of RealFi and creating real-world opportunities leveraging the Cardano's unique infrastructure. One of these projects that they have already launched and that is already available to us are the liquidity bonds, more specifically the SPO bonds. These bonds are in fact extremely useful for smaller or recently started stake pools in the Cardano ecosystem because it's very hard for the stake pools to get the necessary delegation to start producing blocks regularly and be able to actually make their stake pool profitable. And with these ISPO bonds, they offer bonds with extra yield to users, and users will basically acquire those bonds, delegate the ADA to that stake pool, and on top of the ADA rewards, they will also gain an extra yield provided by the stake pool operator that on their side will start, actually producing blocks and gaining rewards from their activity, which is pretty useful for them and which is pretty useful as well for the Cardano blockchain as it helps decentralize the blockchain. As you might have noticed, it's not the first time we talk about Optim Finance in this channel. I've created a video explaining what was Optim Finance, their vision, their mission, and more importantly, the products and the utility they want to create in the Cardano ecosystem. And in that video, for example, I explain more in depth the liquidity bonds and the SPO bonds, but also other products they are developing. So if you want to know more about Optim, that's the video you should check. I'll leave it here on top somewhere for you to check it out. It will certainly be useful. On this video, the focus won't be so much on the products, but we will in fact dive deeper into the team, to roadmap, and tokenomics. There are three major aspects of any project and three aspects we should always analyze to complete an analysis of the project and to see where projects can actually go and how interesting they are for us as users. With that on mind, we'll start with the team. Okay, in terms of the team, we have some information here on the website, but besides that, even though I did research a lot, I couldn't find any other information about the team. Okay, I've looked in their Discord, I've tried to contact the team as well. I've even looked in Medium, their documents, everything I could to try to find who is the team. Even LinkedIn, I just went there and tried to research Optim Finance and Optim Labs, but with no success. So clearly, it's not the Docs team. We don't know exactly who is behind this project, even after researching a lot. And for me, that's a downside. I like to have Docs teams. I like to see people getting behind their projects and showing their experience, or when they don't have it, just sticking their face and their reputation in the line for their dream. I think that's very positive and it creates accountability and also gives people security. And I do know and realize that in cryptocurrency, a lot of projects that have a lot of success don't have docs teams, but I also see that that's changing and docs teams are becoming more regular as it is in other industries because it shows a higher commitment from the team. The little information we have is this one on the website, where they state they are a team of software engineers, finance experts, designers, and crypto natives. Okay, basically, and they also have experience and the background related with M Labs and IOHK, which is very positive because they are great experts of Cardano for sure, Silo and Algorand, and also MIT, Harvard, and Cambridge probably as students. So good universities, and also some interesting projects they have worked on. But still, we don't really know because we don't know who the team is. So they can say almost anything they want, and we will believe them because we don't have more information. However, it is important to notice that even though the team is not doxed, they have been able to get funding, around of funding, and besides that, they have been able to gather some pretty interesting partners. Okay, they have here a partnership with Liquid Protocol and Indigo, and we'll dive deeper into this partnership. So here we have the Liquid Partnership. What is Liquid? Liquid is a non-custodial borrowing and lending protocol on the Cardano blockchain, and they have partnered with Optim with more than one use cases. Okay, one of the purposes and one of the things they've partnered with Optim is so that Optim bonds, Optim liquidity bonds, can be used as collateral to take loans on Liquid protocol. Okay, and this is very positive. It's a great use case for Optim bonds because they will provide extra utility to the bonds, because even though you've loaned that like ADA and that ADA delegation and it's stuck in a pool, you can still use it as collateral to get money whenever you need it. Okay, so it certainly gives you an extra layer of security. It also allows you to assess more capital with your bonds and optimize your capital allocation, which is super interesting. Besides that, as we can see here, this partnership also intends to explore the integration of a number of vaults with Liquid. Okay, these are strategy vaults. So basically, Optim Labs will develop strategies. They'll put it all in a smart contract, and people can choose that strategies, and these strategies will be specific to Liquid, and that will, of course, allow users to get yields from these strategies. And finally, we have the Agora integration that is also pretty useful and interesting, especially for Optim Labs, because Agora, I don't know if you know it, but is an infrastructure that was developed by Liquid Labs, an infrastructure for governance with on-chain voting and everything. And in this case, Optim is going to use Agora for their own protocol, for their own DAO, which I think is very positive, because instead of having to create their own DAO mechanism, they can already use one that has been working and that has had some pretty interesting adoption in the ecosystem. That will certainly make the process of creating their own DAO much faster. Then we have here the partnership with Indigo Protocol. Okay, so this is also a very interesting partnership. Okay, Indigo is a synthetic assets protocol on the Cardano ecosystem. It was in fact responsible to launch IUSD, that was the first native stablecoin on Cardano, as synthetic stablecoin at the time. With this partnership, basically, Optim will create strategy vaults for Indigo called synthetic vaults that will automate several of the core functionalities that users can do using Indigo platform. Okay, and it will execute strategies with the Indigo platform, such as shorting or longing assets in Indigo. So basically, you have these vaults. If you want to short a certain token in Indigo protocol, a certain index, you basically just need to put money into to the Optim Finance smart contract strategy vault to short that asset, and it will basically take care of all the process itself. Okay, while with Indigo you have to buy assets, sell other assets, and it's a more complex situation. In addition, as you can see here, Optim is also planning to develop the yield aggregator to maximize the yield with the usage of synthetic assets. And it will, while reducing, the barrier to entry for the average user, as this is kind of a complex process. You have to acquire your assets, set a position with collateral, manage your position, then you can provide with the I assets you generated, you can provide liquidity and gain some extra yield, but it's not a simple process to understand. And having a smart contract that will basically automate everything and just provide you with the yield, I think will be much better for many people, because not everyone is that tech savvy. And most importantly, even sometimes tech savvy people and DeFi savvy people, it's tough to track all the positions, to always be making manually all the changes, and the smart contract will be able to do that for you, which is very interesting use case for sure. Moving forward, let's take a look here at the roadmap for Optim Finance. Naturally, their roadmap is focusing on developing their yield products that we explained deeper in the previous video. So if you want to know more about them, just go there and check it out. And they have, of course, already been able to develop and launch the liquidity bonds, the SPO bonds, that are very useful for stake pool operators and also for just people delegating ADA and that want to get an extra yield. But they have many more things to come and many more interesting products to launch that will bring a whole lot of utility. Okay. The only thing to note from their roadmap is I would like to have, we have here, the only thing to note from the roadmap is that we have here the plan for the next year. But I will also like to have what was the plan before, the previous roadmap, and see and be able to see what they were able to achieve or not. Okay, I think that transparency would be very helpful to actually see the track record of the product, of the project and the team, and see what they have been developing and what they have been able to achieve. But I think it's positive that they are in fact active and they are actively changing the documentation and updating the documentation with their goals. It shows they are in fact working and focused on their goals. So let's dive into the roadmap. And as we can see here, for the second quarter of 2023, the first thing they're focused on is the real world assets. Okay, these have a connection with RealFi because it combines DeFi with the real world. So they want to make the initial design for this product, which I think is very interesting. They basically want to use crypto to create lending pools that will be lent to real world projects, okay, projects that are innovative, that bring new ideas and developments, especially small and medium enterprise projects that have difficulty actually getting fund at decent rates, getting capital, getting loans at decent rates. So you can certainly have here a space and an opportunity to provide users of of Optim Finance with an extra yield, while also supporting a lot of good projects with great ideas and that can actually bring us some very interesting developments. And then we also have here the Optim DAO initial proposal. They've done already a lot of work in this DAO, creating a lot of documents, but they want to finally propose it actually and discuss it with the community to see if it's in fact a legitimate model for the community to vote and participate in the development of Optim Finance. Okay, we might in fact dive deeper into this DAO in a later video if you guys are interested on that. So if you are, please drop a comment. I'd love to make a video on that because I think it's very interesting. And if you just want to watch that video or just keep up with the progress of Optim Finance, please don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any video. On my side, I'll promise I'll keep delivering some the best content I can about super interesting projects, about decentralized blockchains and technology. So if that's something that interests you, just join us. Then they also want to develop the yield aggregation system. That was the system we talked with you about. And this is a project to just abstract away complex actions, okay, that provide the yield and aggregate all the yield from those actions into this product. So those actions will be taken in an automatic way and give the yield to the users of the project that delegated funds into the smart contract. Okay, for example, looking at Liqwid, it states there are 6 ways we can gain yield. But of course, to do to have these 6 ways of gaining yield, we need to perform several actions while using the Liqwid protocol. So in this case, for example, with this kind of yield aggregation, we could in fact perform all those actions through a smart contract and just get the yield from these 6 ways we have to gain yield. And Optim would just made that easy, simple, and automatic for the users, resulting in passive income, which I think is a very interesting product. Then for the third quarter, they intend to launch the IBO, okay, liquidity bond market. So they intend to audit that tool and also do the testnet for the IBO. IBO are initial bond offerings where basically projects can distribute their tokens and get funding in a similar way to an ISPO, but without many of the hassles of having to create your own stake pool and also having to manage it and having to be worried about things like saturation. And then they have your the vaults, okay, where they want to release the technical design. So they find everything to create the vault. The vaults are the strategy vaults we discussed in in the other video, and also probably the synthetic vaults that are specific strategy vaults that are being developed for Indigo protocol as part of the partnership. Then on Q4, they want to actually launch those IBO liquidity bonds we just talked about. And then they will also want to launch the Optim down and the governance. So after the discussion, and if everything is all right, and after making the changes, uh, depending on what the community wants as well, they intend to actually launch their governance based on Agra and the partnership there. And then on the Q1 of 2024, they want to launch the ISO liquidity bond. Probably do the testnet and audit for them as well during that process. And this ISO allow you to basically create a bond to borrow delegation, to stake that delegation into an ISO or an ISPO pool, where basically you'll get the tokens of a certain project in exchange for your ADA delegation and your ADA rewards. Okay, so this way, using this product, you are able to acquire more tokens of a certain project because you have delegated our higher amount of ADA through that stake pool, initial stake pool offering. And then we also have the vaults audit and launch, where they intend to launch their strategy vaults. I do believe they'll probably just start with launching the synthetic vaults from Indigo protocol, and then progressively launch other vaults they'll be working on. But I think it will be interesting to see those vaults launching for sure. I think it's a very interesting roadmap, in my opinion, because it's a roadmap that, although pretty ambitious and with a lot of things to be launched and done, I do think it's simple enough to actually be achievable. I do think it's something they can do. So that's very exciting. Now, let's dive deeper into the tokenomics. Okay, Optim Finance will have the OPT token. Okay, this is a token that is not yet launched and available, but will be launched in the future, and where its main utility is actually allowing people to holders to participate in the governance process of Optim Finance. So far, there is no other utility plan. These OPT tokens will be distributed to Optim users of the protocol, as they are, of course, one of the people with the biggest interest in making this protocol work and be a success. And they are, in fact, as the users, they are the ones that know the issues, that can solve the challenges, and they also know which features the protocol is lacking, which features would be interesting to add, and can also suggest things that they think will increase the adoption for the protocol and assure that the protocol will keep on developing, keep on getting better, and keep on satisfying the needs of increasingly more users. Optim is a new project, and as such, they have not defined yet the token emission schedule. However, there is a maximum supply of 100 million for OPT tokens, and a clear idea so far of how the OPT token should be distributed, as you can see here in the Z infographic. Okay, with 40% of the tokens to be distributed to the Optim users, Optim Finance users, certainly a decent chunk of the supply. Then 22% of the tokens going to the team and advisors, which in my opinion is in fact a lot of tokens going to the team and advisors, and it leaves them with a lot of power, in terms of voting. Okay, so if they really hope to make Optim a decentralized project, it's not that good that the initial team and the advisors have most of the power, because at the end of the day, 40% will be equally distributed across the protocol. So 22% will likely be more than enough to make decisions to move the project forward. Okay, this of course if the team and advisors don't opt by just going out and just dumping the tokens in the market, which would of course also not be great for price action of the OPT token, but would certainly be better for its decentralization. Then we have 16% are going to be sold. Okay, not really sure if this is a private or a public sale, and also interested in knowing where will these funds go to. Will they go to the team? Will they go to the project? Will they go to future hires? Will they go to the DAO treasury? It would be very interesting to know that. I've in fact tried to contact the team on the Discord and through email, but so far I haven't been successful and I have no answer to show you. And this is also for the 10% that will go to the public treasury. I'm not really sure what's the public treasury. It's something I've asked, but I was not able to get an answer so far. So if I do, I'll certainly update that on the comments or in a future video. This is also because, public treasury could be the DAO treasury, but it's not really the same, because 5% will in fact go to the DAO, okay, and this 5% is likely what's going to be used to fund any proposals and projects approved by the DAO. So also interesting to see whether this DAO will have, any kind of way to get funded, to keep getting funded, any kind of, I don't know, will it get the fees of the protocol, for example? Then we also have 4% going to future hires, which I think is good. I think it's good that they're thinking about hiring more people for the future, and that they also want that people to have some stake in the game, which I think is valuable for them to make better decisions. Then we also have the 3% for market making, so 3% for everyone providing liquidity of the OPT token on DEXs. In terms of the tokenomics, I think it's interesting to see that the supply of this OPT token is relatively small. Okay, so if this project becomes really big, there is space for considerable price appreciation. However, it's also important to take into account that the major utility, and so far the only utility of this token, is governance. Okay, so there is just one demand driver for the token, which is not great, because probably there is a lot of self pressure for the team, probably even from some members of the public that don't want to participate actively in terms of governance. So I think it would definitely be interesting for the team to develop more use cases and more demand drivers for this token. I don't know, something such as maybe being able to only access a few strategies, some high return strategies when you have a certain amount of OPT tokens, or have some extra yield on the protocol for having more OPT tokens, or even just like, I don't know, a special fee discount for holding certain amount of OPT tokens. But yeah, if you're someone that enjoys Optim Finance and wants to be a user, you likely want to participate in governance. You likely want to help influence the future and the development of Optim Finance, so it keeps moving in a direction that is useful to you and other members. So on that side, I think it's definitely important to dive deeper into the governance. So if you guys are interested, I'll definitely make a video about that, especially because they have already developed a few documents about the governance, an entire GitHub about their governance, and it's pretty interesting, a little bit different from usual, so something I should definitely dive deeper into and make it simpler for you if you guys want. So if you want, just let a comment down saying you like that video and you like to watch it, and on my side I'll try to make it, of course. But meanwhile, don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss that video, any other updates about Optim Finance, and also other very cool projects that will certainly be analyzed as well in this channel. On my end, some final thoughts about this project. I think the roadmap is pretty interesting. I think it's also very nice to see how the team has already a product available. They have some solid ideas, some innovative products coming, a very good mission in my opinion. And I also enjoy a lot their wish of making this project a decentralized one. Okay, but on the downside, I would really like this team to get doxed and to get behind this project. Okay, even if they don't want to be on the website, they could do like the team of Liqwid Labs, that at least they identify themselves on podcast interviews and also on LinkedIn. On my side, I'm really surprised with the project they've launched. It's a super nice product and a super simple product at the same time. It's so simple that it's almost brilliant because, for stake pool operators, one of the biggest issues for them is to attract that initial delegation that allows them to start producing blocks, being profitable, and also distributing rewards across their delegates. So yeah, Optim with these bonds that are super simple allows those stake pool operators to easily get the delegation they need to start producing blocks, and it also gives an opportunity to people that want to delegate their ADA to gain some extra yield, and also to at the same time help and support the decentralization of the Cardano blockchain, making it a more robust blockchain by taking on these bonds and supporting these smaller pools in their development process. So certainly Optim will be a project that I'll keep an eye on and that I'll also use as a user, especially these SPO ones and especially delegating to smaller pools whenever I can. So yeah, if you're keen on learning about other revolutionary projects, DeFi projects on the Cardano ecosystem, then this video about Liquid protocol that we already mentioned in this video as well should be the one you watch next. And I'll see you there.